unmuted because I see her talking, but she's not, we're not hearing her.
Who is?
She just unmuted, Laura Dutton.
Hey, good morning.
Oh, okay. Hey, Laura, we can hear you. All right, good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. Jenny McCollum, I am the Director of Procurement Services and Inventory Planning and the Chief Procurement Officer for JEA. I'm also the Chair of the Awards Committee. I'd like to call the May 13th, 2021 meeting to order. We have a quorum with Stephen Datz, Todd Skinner, sitting in for Ricky Erickson, and Hai Vu in person. And we have Joe Arfano and Laura Dutton remotely. OGC is represented by Julie Davis, and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. Before we get started, I'll ask if there's any public comments on the agenda today that are in person.
No one from the public is here.
Thanks. Thanks, Lynn. Anybody send emails in about the agenda for today for discussion?
No emails.
Okay, great. And is there anyone on the call that would like to make a public comment on today's agenda items? All right, seeing none, we will move to our agenda. We have items 1 through 5. They have been reviewed by Procurement and by Budget and are ready for the Awards Committee review. We will run through the meeting as usual. We will go through each award. I'll ask for comments and questions. Then I'll ask for a motion in a second to approve the award, and then we will roll call through the committee for your approval. We'll start with the meeting minutes from May 6, 2021. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 6th?
Jenny, Laura Dutton, motion to approve.
Thanks, Laura. Can I get a second?
Hai Vu, second.
All right, I heard Hai as a second. We'll roll call through the committee, starting with Laura Dutton.
Approve.
Let's see, Hai Vu is next. Hai Vu.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Todd Skinner.
Approved.
And Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 2 is a proposal. This is for industrial and lab gas supplies, which include the pickup and the drop-off, cylinder rental, cylinder refurbishment for multiple JEA generating stations, laboratories, and water treatment plants. We have 3 different awardees. Next Air LLC is the recommended awardee in the amount of $2,240,000. Airgas USA LLC in the amount of $280,000, and Matheson Trigas Inc. in the amount of $280,000. This is a 5-year term with 2 one-year optional renewals. And I'm going to pass it over to Rodney. I think he'll do a better job explaining the evaluation process. And I'll just note when we did the comparison, and he can go into more details there, the pricing was approximately 1% higher, so very, very close to what we're currently paying. Rodney,
so
you want to?
Sure. This is
Thank
Rod
you.
Glover speaking. Can you bring up the evaluation summary? Whoever's running the screen. There you go. Okay, so at the top in the first table, if we evaluated on the basis of one contract, there was only one company that bid all the items, which was Airgas. So we had to use the Airgas numbers or the highest numbers to balance out the bids and normalize the bid for all the other participants to evaluate on an aggregate basis. So those numbers that you see, I'm having a hard time seeing the screen here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. The numbers that you see for Airgas, nope, stay right where you're at. The numbers that you see for Airgas and for Matheson and NextAir, the 1.9 million for Airgas is actually their bid numbers. that they provided. Next air, some of those numbers are plugged in from the higher bidders to make up their total that's evaluated. And even when you balance that all out, when you add experience into it and past performance, on an aggregate basis, Airgas was the highest evaluated. So that would be a valid evaluation for one company. But if you look to the right and compared the price increase, that would have yielded us a 12% increase on price, or somewhere around $250,000 in increase. So in our solicitation, we allow the splitting of the work scope into groups. So then I went through and evaluated on the basis of groups that companies completely bid. And the first group was the bottled gas, which is where it says pre-contracts. And you see that Matheson, excuse me, and you see Matheson is the highest evaluated. They have the lowest price for that particular scope of supply. And they did bid all the items for that group. And then after that, we looked at the bulk, which was hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and CO2. Well, Next Air was lower priced on those three items grouped together than Airgas was, and they were awarded that scope. And then finally, Airgas was the only company that bid the liquid CO2, so they're going to be awarded that scope of supply. So that's how the evaluation was done. I guess I'll stop there and ask if there's any questions. When you have unitized pricing like that and 30 different items that you're supplying through a scope of supply, often you'll find that a vendor may not bid an item or two, and you have to group the work to get a supplier for each item that you need.
That happens a lot on
Hey,
the
Rodney.
inventory side too. Go ahead, Laura.
It's probably pretty easy, but the lowest by cherry picking category totals up based on separating out the awards. Correct? Is that right?
I'm sorry, say that again?
In the bottom section, the column that says the lowest by cherry picking category, that's where you're showing the overall price if we were to award separately by category, right?
At the very bottom, Rodney. So the three different lines.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. I just want to sure I understood that
Yeah.
part. Thank you.
And that's right. And then the other part of that is when we have bids like this, coming up with a forecast for the usage across, a dozen different sites and 30 different chemicals and gases is a little bit difficult to extract from the budget sheet. So we basically back into a budget, and we use round numbers in a budget forecast for the award and not actual bid amounts, because those we think are close or would be similar to what we'll use, but there's no exact number to it.
So we use our unit prices, Rodney, and then the actual that gets spent is going to be based off the unit prices, and it'll be
That's right.
charged against the contract.
Yes, ma'am.
Good job. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the other committee members?
This is Jeff.
Jenny,
Is there another?
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Jeff.
Steve. Is there another term we can use in cherry picking?
We could say best. We could say best price by category or by group.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I defer to Julie on that, but it just there's something a little bit untoward about the term cherry picking.
Sure,
We'll change that before we send it over to Jay for review. If you'll make that update,
Thank you.
Rodney, that'd be, thanks.
No problem.
Stephen, did you have a question?
Yeah, I also appreciate the additional effort evaluating those secondary suppliers, so resulting in that cost savings. So good job. But within the fourth paragraph under the background recommendation section, I just suggest inserting water treatment plant in front of plants so it's clear.
Sure.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 2 with the just minor edits to the background and to our backup spreadsheet.
Joe Orfano, so moved.
Stephen
Thanks,
Datt,
Joe. Can we
second.
get a second? Thank you, Stephen. We'll roll call through the committee, starting with Joe Orfano,
Approved.
Stephen Datt,
Approved.
Hai Vu,
Approved.
Todd Skinner,
Approved.
and Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 3, this is what we call a miscellaneous award. This is for our Nocatee Conservation Trail Extension Project. So in my backyard, we have, this project includes approximately 2,700 linear feet of 16-inch water main and 2,700 linear feet of 16-inch reclaim, and about the same for 12-inch force main. Sonico Company LLC is our developer, and John Woody Inc. is the vendor who will perform this work. And the cost associated is $782,944. We are estimating completion of August of this year. This is a developer, through a developer agreement that we have with Sonico Company LLC. And so they will bid out this work per the kind of the limited statute requirements. So they'll put it out publicly, keep it out on the street for a certain number of days, and they'll review and they will award to the lowest bidder. We received 2 bids, and we'll just note that our bid came in, the bid dollars came in approximately 35% less than what JEA estimated, partially due to this, the current contractor, John Woody, is already working in this development, so the mobilization costs are lower, and so that obviously will impact the overall cost to JEA and the reduction. I'll pause there and ask if there's any questions or comments on award number 3. All right, can I get a motion to approve award number 3?
Dutton, so moved.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura and Hai. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 3, starting with Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Hai Vu,
Approved.
Todd Skinner,
Approved.
Stephen Datt,
Approved.
and Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 4 is a proposal. So this was an evaluated bid for engineering services for the Monterey water or wastewater treatment facility. This is for design, bid, and post-design engineering services. Constantine Engineering LLC is the recommended awardee in the amount of $1,011,570.29. We are expected this project to be completed, the total project to be completed in December of 2026, which I'm assuming means our construction as well. We had a 5% evaluation criteria for JSEB, and they well surpassed that with about 17%. We received 3 proposals, and when we review the fees that were negotiated with the budget estimate, we're about 12% lower. I will just also make a note that the services during construction are not included in the proposed fees and will be negotiated and brought before the awards committee once the design has progressed to an appropriate level to make that call. Are there any questions or comments on award number 4?
I do have a question for the project management team. It's unusual. I see that you had 4 reviewers for this proposal, which is fine by me, but I was wondering why that was for a project like this. And then looking at the scoring for the engineers, in the public meeting, were there any discussions as far as the discrepancy in scoring? I was maybe concerned is too strong of a word, but it was interesting where you had one evaluator was essentially an outlier from the rest in scoring CPH higher than the others in a couple categories where, one evaluator on the design approach had them 19 out of 40 and another 15 out of 40, and then, but the fourth evaluator had them scored second at 33 out of 40. And so could anyone talk about that to see, were there any discussions about that and were they resolved, and maybe just different perspectives? And I can certainly respect that, but any comments on that?
Mm-hmm. I'll add to that. Hi, I think for the committee's, knowledge, for these, and when we evaluate solely on qualifications, we are required to have a public meeting to discuss the scoring and to review it in a public setting. And so I think, I think he's relating the question back to that. Were there discussions, Dan or Joe, that happened during the public meeting that, kind of helped everybody understand why they scored the way they did?
Jenny, this is Dan Cook, the purchasing agent. Yes, there were discussions during the public meeting. The evaluators were, talked about why they scored, and I think it was just a difference of opinion. None of the evaluators changed their scores during the meeting, which is an option. They were given that option. Nobody did. So there was conversation, and to answer your other question, Hi, about why there's 4, I believe that Water Wastewater wanted 4 on this one because in the recent past we've had 1 or 2 evaluators drop out either through job changes or whatever, and we had fewer evaluators than what we said in the proposal that we would have. So they wanted to be sure that they had at least 3 in case somebody ended up not finishing their evaluation.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you, Dan.
Sorry, I'm sitting here talking and I'm on mute. I apologize. I asked for a motion to approve award number 4.
Stephen Datz, motion to approve.
Thank you.
Joe
Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 4, starting with Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Hai Vu.
Approved.
And Todd Skinner.
Approved.
Thank you. Our last award is award number 5. This is a rescind. This is for Brandy Branch Generating Station Heat Trace Inspection and Repair. We received 3 bids on this, and in reviewing the submitted proposals, JEA had significant clarifications that were needed from 2 of the submitting companies regarding pricing in the format JEA requested. They didn't fill out all the pricing And there was, quite a bit of discussion about how to handle this one, and we thought it was best to rescind this one and revise the pricing approach and make additional clarifications to the scope of work to allow for a combination of unit pricing with discovery, which is time and materials, and to change the way that we are asking them to price this. So we did receive 3 bids, but in the best interest of making sure everybody understood the scope and the pricing, we are going to rescind and make some changes and go back out. Any questions or comments on award number 5?
Lynn, can you go up to the top on this, on 114? Okay, thank you.
We fixed it.
So the companies required clarifications, did they submit the questions or comments with their bids? Or?
Rodney, do you want to give some more background on some of the issues that we had when we received the bids and the pricing and the lack of some of the pricing?
Sure. The, without giving away, I guess, who submitted what and how they submitted, the price approach in the solicitation was for a lump sum repair price for a defined scope of repair that we currently have on each individual heat trace circuit. So there was about 40 lines where they needed to go through and give a price for it. And there's several price components. Part of it's heat trace repair, part of it's scaffolding, part of it is insulation and lagging. And several of the suppliers just had trouble with the way that we bid it on providing a lump sum price. Some of that work is subcontracted, some of it will be T&M, and so we're gonna revise the approach to allow all the companies to submit something that we think is going to be a bid that we can compare apples to apples without making assumptions on probably what would amount to be 50 to 60% of the bid price.
So thanks, Rodney. And I was wondering about the timing of those comments or clarifications. Did they try to get clarification during the bidding period and we weren't able to resolve it, or did they submit?
Yeah, they and so here's another part that makes sense and why we're rebidding it. There's 2 other companies that didn't submit a bid in time that had more exposure and had done more research on the work. Several of the companies that did submit a proposal, they asked for several extensions, and we said, okay, we're not going to keep on extending the bid due date, just because we felt we'd have enough competition as some of the other companies bid as well. And so we just elected to had to hold the bid opening once we had the 3 bids. But then when we opened the bids, we saw that they had a lot of issues.
Okay, thanks, Rodney.
Yep. In redoing the bid here, we will have enough time to get the major systems repaired prior to a new winter season coming on. And I think we may be able to get another bidder or 2 involved as well.
Thanks, Rodney. Any other questions, comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 5.
I vote so moved.
Thanks,
Laura,
Ty. Can I get a
second.
second? Thanks, Laura. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 5, starting with Haivu.
Approved.
Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Todd Skinner.
Approved.
And Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Thank you. The entire agenda for May 13th, 2021 has been approved. Is there any other business to come before the awards committee?
Jenny, this is Stephen. Just out of curiosity, in regard to the pre-bid meetings, 4 of the 6 solicitations have been rescinded since the beginning of the calendar year. And I'd like to know if you guys could look into whether or not a mandatory versus an optional pre-bid meeting would help address that.
Sure. We'll look at that, and we do track our rescinds, and it certainly is not something that we prefer to do, and we try not to rescind if at all possible. Sometimes we just don't get it quite right when we go out, and it's in the best interest to do that, but we'll see if we think there's any kind of connection between not having a pre-bid meeting and having a pre-bid meeting. I think on this one, for the next time we go out, Rodney plans to have the bidders go out and do a site visit if they want as well.
Okay.
That's right.
Thank you.
And hey, this is one thing on this too that I'll note that I think the last rescind that I had was a budget concern for the project, and we've kind of shied away from doing ITNs as well and moved towards more RFPs. And I think ITNs for a lot of these formal type projects would help have that clarification period and the ability to get things clarified more and have BAPOs submitted. And I know we've kind of not done a lot of those lately, but that's an idea.
Thank you, Rodney.
Yeah, and just for clarification, per the P code, you guys absolutely are able to use the ITN process, and especially for things that we might not be sure, 100% on how the pricing might be, calculated, or how we want to put that bid workbook together, and something that we haven't really done in the past. You just need to send me the reasons why you guys want to do an ITN, and I'll look it over and approve it.
No, understand.
Thanks, Rodney. All right, any other thoughts before I adjourn the meeting? Any other comments? All right, I will make a note that we are doing our hurricane tabletop exercise next week, and we do have a really light agenda. I think there's only 2 items that my group said that we would have to bring next week, so I think we're going to go ahead and cancel. We've got a lot of other stuff going on we're all involved with. Hi, do you have a question?
Yeah, there's actually one time-sensitive award that you haven't seen yet, but you will, which is the chill water main that will serve the JEA new headquarters, and I would like to get that going as soon as we can. So just want to kind of throw out there, we may need to do that.
Okay. Are you wanting us to hold awards next week? We could move it to Friday. That is an option, although Heather Beard would run it in my absence because I'm off Friday.
If that's a possibility, I would love that, because time is of the essence. We need it every day if we can. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. I know we have one other, and I'm sure we could come up with one more to make sure that we have at least 3 on the agenda. But if we don't, and that one needs to go, we can just have a quick short meeting with 2, and then we'll go next week back to our normal Thursday the following week. But if we do it this week, if we do it next week, it'll be on Friday. So I will work with my team to get that shifted and make sure that they're covered and that I'm covered from being out of the office. So my niece is graduating from high school, which is crazy to me to believe. I know. So we're going up to Mississippi to see her graduate. We're excited for her. All right.
I'll be out as well, Jenny. So I'll have to name a delegate. Hopefully, Julie, if she can join. I'll be shuffling off to Buffalo for my nephew's college graduation.
So it's graduation season. I know. That's great. It's crazy. My other niece is going to graduate next year, and I remember them being so young, and they were just babies, and now they're adults. So it goes fast, goes very fast. All right, well, I hope everybody has a great Thursday and a very safe weekend. We will see you guys. I won't see you guys Friday, but we will hold it next week, and then I'll see you the following week. If you guys need anything in the meantime, let me know.
All right,
Meeting
thank you.
adjourned. Thanks.